Okay, hello, greetings and welcome. Okay, let's have a look at ritual magic, how it works, why it works. So let's say you want to increase your concentration power. You remember a time which you're highly concentrated. You take your mind back to that moment where you're in a state of concentration. You invoke it in your memory. You feel that concentration that you experienced at that moment. It comes into this moment, and in this moment you're now concentrated. You take a gesture, you touch your thumbs together, you might use this type of gesture, whatever gesture you want, and you anchor the gesture to the high state of concentration. And then you put your will in the concentration in the feeling of the body state, and you connect them together. And then you close, you return back to the physical. You do it 3 times. You return back to the highly concentrated state, anchor your gesture 3 times. Then, on the 4th time, you simply hit the gesture, watch what happens. Your body remembers, your feelings remember, your mind remembers, and bang, your mind gravitates and pulls towards the state of the gesture. So you end up in a concentrated state. You enter through the power of ritual into samadhi. But let's say you go hit the gesture, concentrate for 3 hours, and eventually end up in samadhi. What happens? The accumulated sum total of the time you spent with that gesture produces a center of gravity, which is not really samadhi. So you end up with a watered down mind state to represent your gesture. So don't activate your gesture until you're in the mind state that you want that gesture to represent. If you hit the gesture that hasn't been properly charged and you start getting your mind into the state of meditation, your body's remembering how not to meditate properly when you're in the gesture. So don't use the ritual when you're not in the right mind state. Now let's say I'm visiting a famous master. We're visiting town, I attend his lecture, her lecture, and the Lama puts out a very powerful frequency. As soon as my body reacts to that frequency, I go, wow, what's that? Boop, I create a gesture. So I anchor it. Now I look at where I'm sitting in space. This is the location in wherever it is, and in the Akashic substance underneath that place, the Akasha remembers. So if I remember the place, I remember the gesture which I made to replicate the frequency that particular Lama just gave me. I put my mind in the place, do an Akasha breath, release time and space to be there, hit my gesture, and guess what? That same frequency that that particular teacher's emanating will be inside my mental body. Now, if I want to own it further, I have to relax it into my astral body and relax it in my physical body, and then I can steal this comfort. I can own it. I take ownership of it astrally and physically. You do this 3 times, and you hit that gesture. You don't have to go back to the place. You don't have to think about the frequency. It's anchored into the gesture, and then you'll feel it starting to bubble up and arise. And of course, you welcome it in. Now, you want to get every ritual to work without intent. So you break down your need to, okay, I want this frequency, I have to go to that place, do an Akasha breath, tune in the Akasha in that place where it's registered as a piece of information, and you want to eliminate all that. So in the end, all there is just the gesture. You hit it, boom, energy starts to come up. So you remove the intent inside the setup to get you to the place of power. So that all you need is a physical body gesture, bang, energy starts to arise. So this ritual magic is very important because it allows you to access very large reservoirs of energy memory, whether the energy is stored and waiting for release vitally, astrally, mentally, in the Akasha. Wherever that energy is, your ritual allows you to access the energy. Remember how to create that effect and invoke that effect, whether it's in the physical, astral, or mental worlds. This is very important because you're not always able to generate the same preconditions for the energy to arise. You don't want to have to generate preconditions to enter into samadhi. You hit your ritual, you enter in samadhi, equanimity, and you're there. Now you're ready to practice. Remember, novice practices how to get to Samadhi. Intermediate practices is mastering Samadhi. Master's practice is having the benefit of the equanimity and the insight. So you want to hit your rituals and go to the master's practice of equanimity and insight, and not be on the beginner's practice of how do I get there. So this is in the method of how you generate your rituals. You want to generate your rituals so they take you to that level, and then you can utilize the translating information of that particular stream of knowledge which is coming through quickly and efficiently. If you're not able to get into your Samadhi equanimity state, you can't translate the insight information through, you can't understand what you're tuning into and gain the value from it. When you get your spirit understands something, has an inner knowing about something, it takes ownership in it in such a way that you can move beyond it. But if your spirit's paying attention to something and it doesn't have the equanimity to generate the insight, there's no ownership to move forward and beyond. So ritual magic allows you to develop yourself very, very quickly by understanding how you can stand on the platform, own the platform, and then work on the next level. And it's a huge, huge benefit once you understand the physics. So what do you need? You need to work yourself up to a point where you can Akasha breathe, so you can do an Akasha breath and go back to that place in which you originally generated the gesture, to really anchor it in and build it. Once you've anchored it and built it, you don't need the Akasha breath anymore. So this physical alignment to a feeling in a mental state, 3 dantians, 3 bodies, regulated by physical gesture, generate an alignment of the 3 bodies for energy to arise in a particular way. And that creates a platform for you to sit on and own. As soon as you've done a ritual to access a particular state, ownership is right there. You've already got it. You generated it from your own subconscious, and you're sitting in it. How much more do you need to own it than that? So it's a very fast track. So if you're practicing meditation, really look into, how do I master ritual magic? How do I generate rituals to take me into these mind states very quickly so that I can own them and move on? The moment you own it is the moment you can move beyond it. So let me say that again. The moment you own it is the moment you can move beyond it. You need 3 repetitions of something to anchor a ritual, to own it and put it into your feeling, into your subconscious, that you just subconsciously remember it to move on to the next level. Now, this is a lot faster than spending a year on a frequency, concentrating on it, to integrate it into your subconscious, that becomes a part of your personality. Ritual magic, far, far quicker. So all the Vajrayana high magic systems, they're all about ritual, because that is the fastest track. Thank you for your time, and see you on the next video.